Hi, I'm Mike, Kilo 3 Delta Oscar, and in this video I want to do a quick tour of one of the repeater sites that I maintain and that I have. And I get the question a lot, like what's in a repeater, what is a repeater, where's it located, which I'm not going to give you all the details of where it's located. A lot of people don't like giving those details out, but I will walk through what's in the room and what different pieces are for one of the larger sites that I maintain up in Maryland. So I recently was up there doing maintenance on it, and I just did some video. I didn't really talk through the video, I just kind of took some videos. So I will play the videos and we'll talk about what each thing is a little bit and kind of how things work. But hopefully this answers a lot of the questions I get about repeaters. So let's get started. All right, so we're going to walk through some videos that I took a couple weeks ago when I was up at the repeater site, getting things ready for winter and just doing some general maintenance. So you're getting ready to see how cluttered it kind of is. So this is not untypical of this type of environment. And I'm going to do it by playing the videos, and I'm going to stop and start them as I play them to kind of annotate them. So you'll see me going in here. So let's get started. What we're looking at here is the dirty part of the floor. There's a radio sitting there in that case that we're going to replace, but we'll look around here a little bit. So basically you see our storage cabinet, some hard line right there, and here you see I'm going to the first rack. So I'm going to stop it right here to start with, and I'm going to talk about what's on this rack. So you see the top, there's a couple of Raspberry Pis that are stacked up. That's actually how we put the repeaters on the internet. So the repeaters connect to that, and then we stream that out. You see an access point on the top there, and then you see an RCOM controller. And let me see if I can get this right. The RCOM controller is, let's see, where's my mouse at? Right here. And then what you see right here on is the two repeaters that it's controlling, and that is a 1.25 meter or 220, known as 220. So that's what that is right there. And let me go ahead and go back here, and we're going to start the video again. As we go down the rack, I'm going to stop as we go down a little bit. You see right there where it says, oh, went a little too far. Well, we can show you right here. So what we have is right here at the top, right there, is in the next row down is WinLink. So what this is, there's a computer that is set up for WinLink, and it has HF and VHF, so it is a hybrid node. So it can deliver email without the internet in that event. But you'll see we have the signal link right there and that radio, and then there's also the Pactor modem. It's sitting right there. It's a Pactor 3 modem, or can do Pactor 4, but it's Pactor 3. And then on the next rack down, you see down here, this stuff right down here is a tuner for the HF, and then on over here you see right here that is the TNC and the 440 connection that we have. So we're trying to change all this around right now a little bit, but to do a little more modern protocols. But if you look down at the next rack down here, in this space right down here, you see these two radios. So these radios are what connects to the Raspberry Pis on top. So these are receive radios. So we receive the audio off the repeaters off the air, and then we rebroadcast that back out. So that's what you see when one of them's on and the other one's off at the moment. And then we also have a direct link into Wires X at this site too. And then right beneath there, this stuff right down, this rack right here, that's right here. This is just a 3D printed Raspberry Pi rack. And you see it's kind of empty. There's the Raspberry Pis on top are supposed to go into that rack. We just haven't had a chance to convert them all or move them all down there yet. So that's what that is. All right, let's continue the video a little bit further. So down at the bottom, what you see down here is a remote rig. So this remote rig actually connects to me here in Florida. So that's how I can kind of monitor the repeaters. So right here, that is an ICOM 7300, and then above that is the tuner that's connected to it, because this ICOM 7300 can do UHF, VHF, and HF. So there's an external antenna on the building. I'll show you that a little bit. that actually allows me to use HF as well. And then this little box right here that I'm highlighting is actually the remote rig. So I have one of these in Maryland and I have one of these down in Florida. So the head to this 7300 is actually here with me in Florida, and I can remote control the radio from here in Florida. So this allows me to do monitoring of the repeaters. I can do D-Star with this one. So it's just a real nice way of doing remote management and remote testing and stuff like that. All right, let's keep going a little bit into the video a little farther. So anything you see down here is you see the UPS sitting in the back here. You'll see another one, but it went bad on a little bit later. You'll see one in the video. So this is our temporary placement for this one. And what you see right here, let's see, where am I? This here is a weather station that's on top of the roof, connected to a Raspberry Pi. It's in the next rack over, and it's how we report weather. We can take the temperature of the inside of the building, etc. And then there's a drawer, and then beneath that you see 2 of the 10 batteries that are at this location. So let's go ahead and start the video back up again. There's the batteries. You can see there's 4 on this side and there's 6 on the other side. There is the charger for the batteries. So let me go all the way to the top, I guess. All right, rack number 2. So at this site, we have quite a few cameras. So one of the things you'll notice up here at the top is this camera right here. That's facing the door, and that's mainly just so you can see who comes into the room. But it's also, the other cameras we'll show are for monitoring the systems as well. So we can do a camera while we're down here in Florida, look and see what the lights are doing and things like that. So this box right down here that says WN1 on it right here is a remote monitor that we can monitor SWR and power output. So 2 of the devices we have here, APRS and the DMR repeater, have this being monitored, so we can kind of monitor remotely. And you see the mess of Cat5 wires. So unfortunately, the more wires you get, the messier it gets. I do need to take it and do a cleanup here at some point. But let's see, the next device down, which is this box right here, is, if you're familiar with Unify hardware, this is a Unify switch that's right here. And you'll see right beneath that, there is another router. This is the VPN router. So this connects to my site here in Florida. So I have a remote pinned up connection to the site, so I can remotely manage everything. Plus I have other ways to get into in case that VPN would go down, which it very rarely goes down. And then on the next rack down, we have APRS. So this is the APRS radio. And then you see the Raspberry Pi that's right here. It's kind of hard to see, but it's right here. So I can circle this. This is the Raspberry Pi that runs APRX. So that's connected into the network switch above, and it's how we do APRS at this location. All right, let me continue the video. Down the rack a little bit. So the CC1 you see there is the cloud controller for the Unify system that's on site here. And then you see R5 there, the Motorola. That is the K3DO DMR repeater that's located in Frederick, Maryland. You can see right there the transmit and receive frequencies. And then you see 3 radios down below. So we have the remote hams, which connects to the 7300. Nobody's using it right now. I do have access to it from here. But the purpose was, if this radio is not being used, the 7300 wouldn't be used. Somebody that can't have an HF repeater or a HF radio in there, where they're living, like in a assisted living, whatever, could have access to it. It is set up. We just never really established a proper protocol to get people into that. The one in the middle, Wires X, runs the Wires X for the repeater that's there, the Wires X repeater that's in a couple racks down, which we'll see a little bit later. And then what remote control does is that just allows me to have access remotely to a Windows machine. It has multiple serial interfaces. So each of the Arcom 210s have serial interfaces that I can remote into this device and remotely program them. So that's what that's for. We also can put in other things. There's also a repeater, for example, just connected to that. I can remote control the repeater. Ones that have serial capabilities, which we do have one of those. So that's just how we can do remote management. Then going down, you see we have a computer screen. You see the KVM right there. The KVM is, let's see, this box, where is it? Right here. So that allows us to have up to 8 devices or 10 devices that we can plug in at this one location, and we can remote control it. All these devices also have remote access via remote control through other remote software as well. This KVM is mostly for being on site. And then we go down a little bit farther down here, and you see there's 2 computers right here. There's actually one missing. I brought one back with me when I was up there because it needed some maintenance. So I'm gonna go back up in December. I'll be putting it back in. But the first computer is WinLink. So this is what runs the WinLink on the left on the first rack. Then we have our D-Star gateway there in the middle. And then the one I took away was the original Windows machine that was there that has all the tools on it for working with all the stuff that's on site there. It does not have remote control on the other boxes for remote control, but it was remoteable. And we could get in and we could run, like it had as a SDR receiver on it, so we can do spectrum analyzer remotely, things like that. So that's what's missing in there. And then you see this right down here at the bottom, this drawer right here is the keyboard and mouse. And then you see the power. So let me go ahead and move on down in the video a little bit. There's not much else for this rack, but we'll continue down so you can see. So the Xantrex is the battery charger that we use. So this is a 40 amp battery charger that charges all 10 of the batteries at the bottom down there. So that's all that is. And then down at the bottom, you see the 2 additional batteries that are in this rack. So you can see 4 of the 10 batteries. All right, as we move on over to the next rack, we'll go up to the top. So now we are in rack number 3, and we're going to stop right here. And so you see there's 2 things in this video that I want to call out. Let's see, the first one is right here. I'm going to try to circle it. You see this A1. So this is our Arden node that's local in the actual building itself. Well, outside we have 2 other ones, which we'll show you when we get outside. But this is the actual Arden node that's connected to Ethernet in the building. So this is kind of the gateway and just another remote access method for us to get into. I can use Arden from here and get into the network using Arden as well. And then you see the one over here that says H2. This is a helium miner, which is LoRaWAN. So this is LoRaWAN right here. And there's an antenna outside the building for LoRaWAN. All right, let's continue to move on down the rack here. So now you see it's labeled GMRS. So what you see here is our GMRS repeater. This is actually, if you use GMRS, this is channel 20, I believe. It's the travel frequency. And then you see right here above it, right here, this is a very inexpensive, where to get my mouse go. This is a very inexpensive filter that we have one from GMRS. So it's one of the cheap Chinese ones. All right, let's continue on down. I think that's going to be it for this rack. Other than at the bottom, you'll see some batteries and the power distro. All right, so there's 2 more of the batteries. We're going to go back to the top of the next rack. This next rack's pretty full stuff, so we'll take a pause as we come down. All right, we'll start at the very top. What you see at the very top is a PoE switch. So this is one of the switches that we have connecting. You see it connects into the D-Star there, but it also connects to the cameras. Our cameras are all power over Ethernet cameras. So, and you can also see that we have the high-speed connections between all the switches that are here too. Then you see the D-Star. And so this very first device that's right here, let's see where to go. Where'd my mouse go? This first device right here where it says D-Star DC1, this is the controller. So these are older D-Star repeaters, so they actually require a separate controller. This device connects to the other 2 repeaters that we're getting ready to show you, and then to the gateway. So that's what this first device is. As we go on down the stack here, you'll see the 2 meter D-Star, and then you go on down and you see the 70 centimeter D-Star. So D2 is our 2 meter D-Star, and then D3 is our 70 centimeter D-Star, 444.8. And then on down the line there, that is the actual filters right there. The DF1 is the filters for the 444.8. As we come on down, we're moving down now to the Yaesu repeater, which is running Fusion and also has an HRI 200. So this device that's right here, the Wires X H1 box is an HRI 200. So it connects from the computer to the back of the repeater, which is how we get Wires X on this repeater. And then right beneath it there, you see the System Fusion. You can see the actual screen for the repeater itself is turned on, and this is how you can configure using the screen. This is the newest Fusion repeater in Frederick. And right beneath that is you see R2F1. Let me go on down the video a little bit here, a little bit further. And you see those are the filters for that. These are 7 centimeter filters. They're old filters, but they're very good filters. So, and then as we go on down the rest of the rack, you see the power distro, and then you see 2 additional batteries. All right, so let's go to the last rack. So this last rack, rack number 5, you see at the very top, this is our power distro for 12 volts. So these are breakers that are set up to run. So just as we didn't mention this before, but the D-Star repeaters are all 12 volts. So they come into here, and these RCOM controllers, like this one is right down here at the bottom, this RCOM right down here at the bottom, these are all 12 volt. So they require 12 volt from the battery. So that's why you see the breaker up there. And we use fuses on one side, and so this breaker box was here, so we just continued to use it. So let's go down a little bit farther here. So what you're going to see now is at the very top, the Raspberry Pi that you see right here. This Raspberry Pi is what is our Echo Link and controller. So it's actually running All-Star. All-Star nodes can also run Echo Link. So this is what this is. It connects into port 3 of the RCOM that it's sitting on. It's actually screwed in the rack. You can't hardly tell it, but it is screwed in there. But it connects to port number 3 on the RCOM, and the RCOM connects to the repeater that's right beneath it. The 2-meter repeater, the 146.730 repeater in Frederick, is that Motorola R1. It's an MTR 2000. So, and that's controlled by that RCOM. That's right there. That's what gives you the time and all that kind of stuff. And we're going to continue on down. So we don't have a 6-meter repeater right now. So you're going to see an empty spot, and you're going to see power, and you're just going to see the batteries. This rack also has a built-in shelf, which is nice. The filters right there you're looking at, the white ones, those are for the D-Star, the 2-meter D-Star. And then what's in that metal cabinet are filters for 14673. I didn't open up the cabinet while I was here, so you're just going to see that just trust me, there's filters in there. That's all it is. Then we work around the rest of the room, and you can see there's an old desk sitting here, and some cables and parts, an old TV. So the room needs a little bit of cleanup done, but you can see, it's a good shelter. I mean, I've seen some places that are really messy, and there you see, I'll stop it real quick. So you see, I mentioned about the cameras. We have a couple of these cameras that are right here, like this camera that's facing the racks. So remotely, I can go in and look and see what lights are flashing or what's going on without having to be on site. It makes it real easy to debug problems if you're having problems. This is an older shelter, so you see the fire alarm there. It does not do anything anymore. It's all disconnected. In the same way with the AC down the end, that does not work anymore either. So let's see where else this video is going to take us. We're getting close to the end of this one. And you can see we had to replace the battery charger, so you see that sitting there on the floor in the box for it. I did do some cleanup before I left, but it's kind of messy. And I'm just going to show you, we have all the spare parts that we have in the shelf right there. Well, first of all, here's hardline. If you've never seen hardline before, that's hardline. So we're just walking through the rest of the room. That's some spare hardline, a spare rack, and then I don't know if I walk. I was right past it. All right, so we're not going to talk about that. All right, let's jump over to the other video real quick. All right, so this is the next video, and this is of the old room where the W302K repeaters used to be. This is an old generator room for this building, and if you are looking at it, you can see right up here. This is the exhaust you'll see on the outside that was here before, and then down at the bottom when we get the video down. Let's see, where would it be? Down this way. Oh no, actually it's on over farther. I can't tell where I'm drawing. Down over here, you'll see where the gas line used to come in to run the generator. And you see the wires coming in. You'll see that from the outside too. But the W302K repeater was in here before, the D-Star and the 2-meter. or in here. And so there's a couple things going on. First of all, the other part of the building was occupied. The building was purchased by the FARG group. And then recently, because the floor is falling in this room, we actually moved it. But looking through the room, you can see here's the old generator controls that were here. And then you can see right now we're using it for storage. And then I'm going to stop it. Oh, go back. Stop. Right back here, right down in this area, right here. You can barely see it, but if you step there, you feel like you're going to fall through because the floor is getting very soft, which is part of the reason we decided to move to the bigger room, put a new floor down. And so this room right now is just used for storage. A couple of things you'll notice. Let's go back to the top here. I'm going to call out a couple of things. First of all, there is still cameras in this room. Let's see, where is it? Right there is the camera, one camera. And then over here on the left-hand side, you'll see this is another PoE switch. The PoE switch is here for more than just this camera. When we look outside, you're going to see a couple things outside that run on PoEs. So particularly the Arden stuff. So that's why that's there. And for those of you that have been around the data center scene for a while, this is now a discharged canister. So there's no reason to worry about that going off in there either. So. Okay, let's go ahead and this is a very short video. We're gonna just let you see the rest of it. Again, it's just basically a storage room now at this point, and the fan over there to keep things cool. This building is not heated or cooled, so we do rely on that fan to keep it cool in the summertime. The building itself. All right, let's jump over to the next video real quick. Okay, the last video here we're going to walk through is the outside. So you're right now looking from the south, basically the south side of the building, and you can see over here. The legs of the tower that we're on, and then we have two additional towers that are on this building. You can see right here's one of them with the bottom of them. So we're going to walk through what's on the outside of the building. Nothing spectacular about it here, but a couple of things you'll notice. One thing I want to call out while we're still here is, let's see, this little box right here is how we can change the batteries that are on the weather system. It's on the roof, so it's just an extension of the batteries. Allows us to do it without having to go onto the roof. Let me go forward a little bit here. As I kind of scroll up, I'm going to stop here. All right, so you'll see there's two cameras here. One right here, one right here, and one that's over here, the PTZ camera. These are connected to the Arden network. So if you connect to our Arden network, you can log into these cameras. This is a PTZ, and you can log into that PTZ. We give you the password and everything, and you can move it around and look and see what's going on up there. So if you're interested in Arden and playing with it, we do have some things you can play with. That was part of the fun of setting it up. Is so if people want to learn and experiment, they have that ability. All right, so we're going to stop right here real quick. So you see a couple things on the roof. We got quite a few things on the roof actually. So let's jump over here. The very first thing you see is the 6 meter repeater antenna, which is this right here. It's hard to tell from down here, but it actually is a really decent 6 meter repeater antenna. It has radials on it. You can kind of see some of the radials sticking out there a little bit. And then in the back, we're going to stick here in the back. This antenna right here is the HF vertical that is on the WinLink node. And then down here, you're going to see right here a dual bay 2 meter antenna, and it is running APRS. That is the APRS antenna. And then right down here at the bottom, which you can barely see, and you may see this as we move the video on, is the 220 antenna. So as you move on over a little bit, this is another HF vertical right here, and this is connected to the 7300, the remote rig that I have coming down here. So that's how I can get on HF remotely, and I don't use HF a lot, but it's there. And then you'll see up here, this one right here is the GMRS antenna. And I'm going to keep on moving here, and we get to the other side, we can see more. Let's go ahead and continue the video here. All right, so we'll stop right here real quick. This dish at the top, so whenever I lived in Maryland, this dish was pointing towards my house. It is now Arden. It doesn't really connect to anything, but it is an Arden radio. For a while, we were actually using commercial bands to try to get some long distance data out of it. So this is a Rocket 5 antenna. On the very top up here, this antenna was used to be used as a control. Right now it's not connected to anything. It's just a 70 centimeter. And then we're not quite sure what this Yagi right here was used for. It's been here as long as I've been around, and we're not quite sure what it was being used for. It might have been from people experimenting with control at some point. So we're not positive, but it doesn't get used for anything right now. And you can barely see it. You'll see when we turn around. Right here is the weather system that I'm talking about. So as we go around, you'll be able to see that a little bit better. So let's go ahead and start the video back up. So this is the end of the building. That fan that you saw in the room, this is the old generator room. That's the fan that was inside. Again, nothing fancy here. Of course, there we see the tower. And we're going to go up the tower here real quick. And I'll stop on the way up. So let's talk about the antennas that we have here. So at this site, this is the, let's see, what is this? That is the 2 meter for the D-Star right there. And this is the GMRS antenna right here. And then at the top, we have the 4 bay up here. This is 14673. That's what this one right here is. And then the one on the inside, which is an 8 bay, is the D-Star 444.8 right here. And then the DMR, you cannot see it in this picture without a drone. It's way up here at the top. The DMR is right in this area. And it's a 4 bay as well. So that's the tower. Let's keep the video going. So you see we're not alone on this tower by any means. There's actually a Wisp on this tower and AT&T's at the very top. AT&T's in that building right there. And you see we got a couple spare tower sections out back here. All right, let's see what I can find here. All right, good. So here's what we're gonna show you, some of this other stuff. So this one right here is a 5 gigahertz Arden node. It overlooks Frederick. This is a 2.4 gigahertz Arden node right here, also overlooking Frederick. And then this is the weather system right here that I've been mentioning. And all right, so let's see where else we go. Almost done with this video. And you can see the other antennas I mentioned before. You might be able to get a better view. Well, not really. This is the 220 antenna right back here. This one right here. And a couple things you'll notice about this particular repeater site, and this is actually something you see a lot in the north, is you don't see it down here very much. You see the hard line runs right here, but you see on top of that, and I'm going to point out a couple other things here too, but this metal is here for a good reason. This is to protect these wires from ice. When ice falls from 200 feet and it's heavy, it can do a lot of damage. It can slice right through cables. So that's there to protect the cables. But the other thing I want you to notice, and you can barely see them in this one, is you can see right here there's 3 mag mounts. And there's a couple things we use these for. First of all, the first one is one of these goes to an SDR receiver, so we can see what kind of noise we're getting from somewhere if we have some kind of problem. I can do that remotely. Another one is used just for monitoring, so like off the air monitoring. So, and the third one right now, it's not being used for anything. The plug's just kind of hanging in there. But these are very helpful for quick things when you're remote, without having to put an antenna on top of the tower there as well. All right, well, I think we're almost done with this video. Let's go ahead and let it play out the rest of the way. Yeah, we are done with it, actually. And that's where it ends. And again, if you want to play with Arden, we have these cameras, and we have other services for Arden too, that you can remote access via Arden. We give you the passwords to it, and you can do PTZ and move the camera around, see the animals that are up here. So definitely reach out if you're interested in getting Arden. Even if you can't reach the Arden nodes that are on the mountain, we have other ways to connect you over the internet. It's not really true Arden in my mind, because it's not emergency, but it does let you play with the services and learn how it all kind of works. All right, well, that's it. That's a quick walkthrough of the repeater site. So hopefully this was helpful and you learned something. Please, any comments or whatever you have, you just include them at the bottom. We're happy to answer any kind of questions you can, any questions that we can. And please subscribe and let your friends know.